They do it because they love it.
Yeah, and
But they don't do the video part though. That's different.
well, that part of the reason I keep doing this is because I learn something about music every time I do one of these. I learn something new about music, about the music industry, um, about things that you have to go through to get from just playing a gig on the weekend to the travel schedule that you put together.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like you're just playing in Nashville. You're all over the place.
I mean, it's like now we're almost not playing in Nashville, you know?
And you're playing in other states and you're booking venues and you're booking stuff way in advance, like months and months and months in advance. And you're able to buy tickets for a show today that may not be 2-3 months down the road.
6 months away.
Yeah, you're at the point now where things are moving ahead for you, and there's so many artists that I talk to that they don't they don't know how to get there. They don't know what to do, and they're so frustrated with where they're at now that it just, things aren't. I like to learn the process because it's not like on these nationwide shows where somebody comes on and sings a song, judges love them, contracts fall out of the woodwork. I mean, that does happen, but honestly, out of however many people win these things, how many of them have staying power?
I could talk all night about the shows, The Voice, American Idol, America's Got Talent. What ends up happening is, they the thing, they put you in front of an audience, and a lot of these people get built up on this show, and then once they're off the show, it just kind of, like, let's say you make it to the top five, that 5 and 4 spot get dropped, and it's like you never really hear from them again.
Yeah.
Because they had no base to fall into.
Right.
It was all nothing to everything in the span of a few weeks or months.
Yeah, and that, that's why I like to talk to indie artists, because even if they don't make the big time, as long as they can stay consistent with putting music out there and staying on social media and stuff like that, maybe they don't grow as fast, but they will grow at some point.
Yeah.
And then say they do have a record that just hits and it takes them somewhere big, and that's the only one they have. They at least can fall back on what brought them. They don't just fall completely off the map.
Right.
They may pull way back, but they're still out there.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people out in consumers like me think, wow, this person showed up out of nowhere. How'd that happen?
It ain't out of nowhere.
And well, no, I'm talking about the ones that just literally pop.
Okay, yeah.
They got 5 songs on the radio and you've never heard from them or never heard about them before, but they got 5 heavily produced songs on the radio. I mean, there's a ton of instruments.
Oh, yeah.
In that, when you start listening to the music, there is so much going on in this song. It's like, yeah, how'd they do that? They came out of nowhere, and they're in this massive production space putting out these, and there's a $10,000 music video that goes with each one of those songs. It's
so forced. There's nothing that feels authentic about that to me as a consumer.
Yeah, well, I kind of sit back and say to myself, does that person, artist, whatever the case may be, do they have staying power? Where'd they come from? If these 5 songs hit, that's good. They're going to put another 5 songs out. What if those 5 songs never even really hit the charts? is that the end of their career?
It depends on who's fronting the budget.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, these indie artists that I like talking to, they're the ones fronting the budget. They're the ones booking the shows. They're the ones buying the merch. I mean, we can talk about your
Yeah.
talk about your pressing
Yeah.
and you know how you do merch, and maybe some of these other artists that watch, they could say, you know what, either they could do it themselves or they could maybe get with you and say, hey man, you're out there doing it, I like the stuff I'm seeing, could you help me out?
Yeah.
You know, something like that. And it would, again, I think merch is a huge thing.
A no-brainer. It's probably a bigger factor than ticket sales when being on the road. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, there are most times we outdo merch over ticket sales. And merch is kind of where it saves us. You know,
Yeah.
let's say my expenses are, $1,500. We only make $1,200 from the venue and I'm in the hole. That merch is going to save me and make it to where I'm, floating rather than sinking,
Yeah.
And I mean, merch is like no brainer, gotta have it.
And I think a lot of artists might need a kick in the pants because maybe they tried. You know, they're like, okay, well, let me do a few little posters, see if I can sell them at the show, or maybe I can get somebody to put me together a quick, 5-song CD, maybe put a little jacket around it, see if I can sell them at a show. I went to a venue. It had a very, very small merch table for one artist out of the 3 that were playing. One artist, but there was no one at the table.
Really?
No one. Walked up there, stood there, waited around. It's kind of like, I'd like to get something.
You'd like to support.
I'm not just going to pick it up and walk out, but somebody needs to come up here and take my money. Finally, somebody came over there and I was like, yeah, how much for a CD? I'm like, I don't know. I said, okay, here's $40. I'm going to get 2 CDs. They're like, okay.
Okay.
And I said, how much are the stickers?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I said, okay. Here's $5. I'm going to get 2 stickers because they're probably $2 a piece. Just keep the one because obviously, even if I wanted, you couldn't make change because there's nobody here to take money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I walk out and I'm like, sales were made right there, but nobody's pushing the merch sales. The artists that had stuff up here, I think pre-show came and set the thing up and then went back and started working to get ready for the show. Honestly, not expecting anyone to even make a purchase.
Yeah.
But would probably say, at least I'm trying.
Yeah.
If there's nobody there, I mean, if I come to see one artist and I don't have time to see everybody else, the artist plays and I'm like, hell yeah, man. And they're talking about their new album and it's back here on the merch table. I'm pick up a CD on my way out. I got to go do my thing or whatever. If there's nobody there, either one, missed the sale, or 2, I took the CD and walked out.
Yeah.
So now you're down however much it cost you for that one CD. Yeah. So now you're losing money. But I think merch is.
I've been known to stand in line for things I don't need, but I just can't help me